Okay, so where were we? Yes, we greased the diff. Funny. Okay, so let's hold this with the little nub up and the gears to our right hand side. And boy, amazing how that fits right in there. Holy Moses. Just amazing. Okay, let's go ahead and drop it in there, make sure it moves okay, nothing's binding up. Make sure the bearings are fully seated in. And now we will take the drive shafts and we will put the pin ends in. And we will get them in there somehow, won't we? Let's try the other side. There we go. And they slip right in. You can see how it fits right into the drive cup. Yay! I'm going to have to hold that in there because it is going to want to come out. This side, for some reason, feels like there's something inside that is not allowing that drive shaft to go through. Can't see anything in there. Very interesting. Just looks like the walls, for some reason. I'm looking down the tube here. It fits into a certain point and then it just stops, and I can see ridges in there. Very interesting. Well, there we go. You know what? Just give it a little push and it'll go right through there. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's go ahead and make sure that we're holding this in the right direction. Go ahead and drop the diff in. And seat the drive shafts into the cups. There we go. They're both seated in properly. And they're probably going to fall out while we're putting the diff cover on. So we may have to chase those around a little bit. And it looks like it's universal, doesn't matter which way it goes on. Clicks right in there. Again, let's hold it together, make sure that everything is moving properly without binding, which it is. And there are 4 screws to put in, and they are the little button heads. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and we'll get the 4 screws put in. On to step number 8. Pretty simple. We're going to put the rear locks on, and some bearings. Okay, I'm sorry. First thing we're going to do is to make sure that we're holding the diff in the right direction. Again, we're going to take a look at the photograph. We're going to hold it with the drive shaft towards the back and the nub up in the air. Make sure that your drive shaft is seated into the drive cup, and we're going to slide a bearing right over the end of the shaft here. And then we're going to take the lock out, and you see the nubs on there, the brackets there. We're going to make sure that those face straight down, and the holes are going to line up right here. Holes on the lockout and the holes on the drive shaft. Go ahead and wiggle those into place. You have to press them in firmly. Make sure that that bearing is seated on there. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side before I put in the screws, just to keep this drive shaft from falling out. Again, we're going to line up the screw holes with the nubs facing down and give it a good push on there. They're a little stiff to get on, except for I forgot to put the bearing on that side. So we'll take it off, put the bearing on. I was test fitting. That's what I was doing. I was test fitting. Make sure everything's lined up properly. Push it on. That one. Oh, didn't want to go on all the way because the drive shaft wasn't completely seated. There we go. And at this point we're going to put 2 screws in, one on each side of each locker, so there's actually a total of 4, but we're going to put 2 into each side. If this is anything like any of the other axial screws in this position, don't over tighten it. Just put it in until it touches. That's it. They strip out real easily. If they're anything like the other axial axles. Put that in. Alright. Put the other 2 screws in here. Just like anything else, when you put moving parts together with bearings or anything, double check and make sure that everything spins freely. This does have a little resistance in there because of the grease, but there's no binding or grinding going on. So that is the end of step number 8. Go ahead and get this screw in, and we'll put one more in just till it touches, and that will be the end of this step. And we'll go ahead and move on to step number 9. We'll get all of our pieces and parts out, and we'll be right back to get going on that one. That's what she looks like. Again, the nubs on the lockouts should be opposing the nub on the top, so it should be at a okay, there we go. Okay, step number 9, we got 2 things going on, both of them very easy. Let's go ahead and one more time position the axle the way that it is on the photograph, with the drive shaft going in this direction. Let's get the top brace here, and you're going to see that there are 3 notches in here, and those 3 notches are going to point towards the back of the axle. Actually, that would be the front of the axle, towards the drive shaft. There's 4 little holes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, that these little pegs slide down into. And then it also slides through the notch here so that everything lines up. And it is stiff plastic, so you're going to have to work on it to make sure that everything pops into place. It's very, very stiff plastic. Okay, once those are on, we're going to put some screws in, and I forgot to get one screw out for this step. Let's see if I can find it. And that would be this screw here, which is a little button head. And where is it? I have misplaced a screw, so we'll get back to that one in just a minute. In the meanwhile, we're going to put the 4 longer screws in from the bottom here, one in each of these holes. And tighten them down. I'm going to do that off camera, and we'll be right back. Alright, I've got these 4 screws in, and actually I was looking at the wrong screw. It is actually, because of the drawing was kind of bad, it actually is a flathead screw, which was in my bucket, so I'm not missing anything. Go ahead and put this in on the top. And the next step is going to be to put on the hex hubs. And we're going to need to get out our thread lock, and okay, so now that that's on, everything is still, again, we bolted new stuff on, so we're going to make sure that everything's still nice and loose, which it is. Actually, it's not. For some reason, this one is not turning. Let me, this side's turning, this side is not. Good thing we checked. I'm going to go ahead and take this off and see what's binding up, and I'll be right back.